So before we came to Trinity, we both were born and raised in Indiana. We didn't have much of a background in the church. We kind of hitchhiked to church, if you will. We found friends, neighbors, family members who wanted to go to church, wanted us to come, but our families weren't necessarily consistent in creating that opportunity to go to church. So we kind of sought God our whole lives, and it wasn't until we started coming to Trinity more that we realized how much we actually missed out on, and also how much the Spirit was really pulling us to be in His presence. So for me, when I first started coming to Trinity, we went from a place of brokenness, I would say. Now, our marriage wasn't broken, but we felt empty. And coming here really gave me and gave us a sense of a foundation. We put God as the center of our family. That's something I needed and that we wanted as we created a family together. I believe that I had a lot of uncertainty with my future. I was in the military, still am, but currently being processed out for a medical issue. And I think that was actually part of God's calling in my life. When I broke my hip, it reminds me of the story of Jacob and how he wrestled with an angel and his hip was dislocated. And it was a way for God to remind him that He was always with him. And he ended up becoming Israel. But for me, I think that was one of the first instances I had with take time to be with your family. Take time to be in my presence is what God was telling me, which ultimately led to my calling into ministry. I felt a huge tug into ministry. I'm actually enrolled in school for a bachelor's degree in Christian studies with an emphasis in biblical studies. So from 2 years ago, not knowing where I would be in my life to wanting to pursue this calling on my life, it's really changed the way I view everything.
Yeah, I would say for myself, the one thing I lacked before is I didn't know who I was. I didn't have a confidence in who I was as a person. And since finding Christ, that was the first thing that I discovered was who I was, and I had a confidence about myself that I never had before. And so, once we decided to commit to Jesus and really just surrender ourselves, that's when things changed for us. I feel like so much changed for us in ways that we just never even thought possible. And we've just watched things unfold over, 2 years, and it's been the most amazing blessing.
Yeah, sure. So I think since coming to church, we've witnessed all kinds of breakthroughs and miracles. I think the most amazing one to us is our daughter, Ren. Mm-hmm. It's incredible to see how much love we have for Ren. God provided us with that beautiful, beautiful girl, and I think that's kind of what God's love for us is like. But way more than that, we love Ren with this unconditional, absolute passion, desire, and I think that's what God wants from us. But the other things He's done for us are financial. When we first came, we started tithing. Well, what we thought was tithing. We were really just tipping God. We weren't tithing God. We would put $5 in an offering basket thinking that just putting something in was what we were supposed to do. We didn't understand the concept of tithing or what it would produce for us. When we really realized that first 10% is actually God's, it's His money to start with. When we get that paycheck, when we get that whatever it might be financially, that when we give that back to Him, He actually provides above and beyond. The last vision night we came to in 2018, we made that pledge. We closed our eyes and we had the same number in our minds. I believe the Spirit was talking to us, and we just went outside of our comfort zone and we gave. And immediately I got in a car accident, and that money was then doubled. Financially, we were kind of hurting at that point, but we stayed faithful. We stayed true to God's promise, and lo and behold, paycheck came in, extra money came in, and we ended up not only receiving that money back that we had given, but we actually had a little more in our pockets afterwards. And that was just one of the testimonies that led us to understand that tithing was so crucial in our lives.
So once we started tithing, we also felt the pull to start serving in the church as well. And so we started serving in TC Kids, and that was really a special thing for us because we knew we wanted a child at some point, and so once we started being in there and seeing how important the next generation was, it really just had a special place in our hearts. And so, now having Ren, and she's little, she's still 7 months old, but you make an impact at such a young age, and so we just want to continue doing that, and that way, she's equipped for the future and to be in the church and help serve like we do.
So, and to add on to that, I think that having that generation to train up, we've created a space not only to want to serve God consistently, but we take that home. And with Rin, our daughter, we practice things at home now that's really creating an impact, where before she gets her meal, we always pray with her.
Yeah.
We read her stories, we say prayers throughout the day for things. And those small, that incremental growth that we want for her started here at Trinity, and it was really principles that we started applying to our life, to just have that space, to have that time, to want to serve God more.
Yeah, absolutely.